Good afternoon and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Alongside John Kovach, I'm Kevin Coleman. I'm going to bring you everything that we saw from this past weekend and what we're looking forward to this week around the FCAC. We're going to start things off, John, what we saw Friday night. Staples, Richfield.
Great
game.
An
exciting matchup. You really think about the games we've done so far on the HAN Network, this was probably the best nail-biter we've seen down to the end.
Between this and West Hill Norwalk was a really good one. You weren't there for that one. That was a great game.
We can't forget about week one, New Canaan St. Joe's. That was
New Canaan St.
well.
Joe's. But this was a great game in its own right, and in some ways a little bit similar to New Canaan St. Joe's in that one team built a big lead, the other came all the way back, and then the team that originally led ended up winning it. Ridgefield comes out, they score field goal, touchdown on their first three possessions. They're up 17-0, and everybody's thinking about the 30, 40-point drubbing they put on Staples last year. Staples wanted to avoid and had waited a year to get a shot to get some revenge on that. And all of a sudden, 3 series are gone, and they can't stop anything. And then suddenly they put it together on defense, and they have a couple of big plays on offense and go into the half, instead of down 17, down 3.
Well, you look at what happened last year, John, between these two teams. It was Richfield who won big. And the reason why they won big is because they aired it out. They beat up that Staples secondary, and that happened again. Those first 3 drives to Richfield Tigers. How are they able to stop Richfield, though? Because you look at those first 3 drives, and Richfield was able to put up points. And you're right. People actually did think, wow, could this be a blowout already? But Staples did a nice job, I thought, defensively, coming out in that second quarter, kind of gaining momentum back on their side.
I think we saw athleticism as the game wore on from the Staples secondary. They did get beat vertically a few times. As the game wore on, they ran a little more stride for stride with the Ridgefield receivers. What impressed me was how much some of those guys were able to high point the ball, that they were able to climb the ladder and smack balls down like volleyball players. I mean, there had to be at least a half dozen, if not more, deflected passes by members of the Staples secondary. That impressed me. I would be concerned about a team going vertical on them, which you have to think Darienne's going to try to do Friday night.
And we're going to have that game on the HAN Network here, but you talk about this game, and really the first and fourth quarters, I thought really saw a lot of the chunk of the action, most of the exciting parts of the game. That second quarter, though, if you remember that wild play that Staples was able to run off and able to score on that, just talk us through what you saw through that, because you were up in the booth. That was a pretty wild play, because if Danny Thompson doesn't, get that fumble and throw it downfield, Staples, they're not winning that game.
Well, that was the design all the way, and you'll see that in our highlight package coming up. It was to be a flea flicker type play, but on the jet motion, the first handoff goes bad, the ball bounces, but it doesn't get away. It almost fell straight and came back up. It allowed them to get the ball to Thompson, and Thompson to find the receiver in Kevin Raybach's wide open in the middle of the field, because you've got that much going on behind the line of scrimmage. Defensive backs start to cheat up. They start to creep up. Oh, this is a run. I got to hold back. No, this is a run. I got to hold back. No, this is a run. No, it's got to be a run. They drop the ball, and Raybach's and Thompson stuck with the play, and that's why that play succeeded, because they stayed with it no matter how badly it looked like it was going to fail.
Now, what positives can you take away for the Staples Wreckers from this game? I know they're going to go home with a homecoming loss like this, but what are the positives they can take away, because they got a tough opponent in Darien Friday night?
You take away the fact that you were down 17 and you came back. You came all the way back, because they, from the third series on, until there was a minute 48 or so left in the game, they kept Ridgefield off the board. They had come all the way back. They scored 2 in the second quarter. They score the only touchdown of the third quarter, and they have a 4-point lead. And then Ridgefield just does what Ridgefield did all last year. and does the cardiac cats act, and they just come out, and these guys refuse to lose. These guys are comfortable playing from behind, which is a great place to be because you don't panic when you're down.
Yeah, they might need to trademark that name, Cardiac Cats. But
I think you came up with that the other night.
Well, we talked about it a lot last year because they did a lot of great things at the end of very exciting games last year, especially Shelton in the Class XL tournament. But let's talk about those Cardiac Cats, the Richfield Tigers. I mean, you come out guns blazing in the first quarter, really set the tone, really send a message to Staples that you're here to play in the rest of the FCIAC, and then they go quiet through the second quarter and the third quarter. Finally, like you mentioned, John, finally able to put some points up in that fourth quarter right at the end there to win the game. You know, let's talk about this team. You know, Gatto, what'd you think of his performance? You know, Gatos, that amazing catch and touchdown play at the end of the game to win it all. Just what were your initial reactions to the Richfield Tigers after that game Friday night?
They did what Ridgefield does. They did what they like to do. You could see the themes and the philosophies that I saw when I was a coach in there. Isolate one receiver, which paid off for them late. The trips to one side, 3 receivers, try to get you all the way to one side and isolate one receiver, often taking advantage of a mismatch. Get a little vertical on you. It doesn't need to be a 30-yard deep pass, but get a little vertical on you. And to bring the pressure, they played at 3-3 stack, and you're never sure what angle they're coming at. And they really kept Staples in check, save for some big plays. Second and third quarter, Staples found a rhythm and started to hit the short passes, the seams and whatnot. Mike Suppy, who was on the call with me, called it, they were handoffs. I mean, they really were vertical handoffs, 5, 10-yard handoffs that were forward and just possession passes and keep the ball moving up the field.
Well, they take on St. Joe's this weekend.
That's going to be a good match.
It's going to be a great matchup between these two teams. What is something that Richfield needs to work on if they want to come up with a W?
They got to stop coming from behind. They've got to stop falling. You know, they had a big lead, hold the big lead. If you get out on St. Joe's, hold that lead. St. Joe's has had a big lead, lost a big lead, and then come back. I think they need to get the ball off quicker because St. Joe's is going to bring the pressure. And I think St. Joe's might bring the pressure a little more than Staples did. St. Joe's shows you all kinds of different blitzes. We've seen it. They come from every different angle. They're coming from all over the place. Danny Thompson's got to have his eyes on a swivel and see what's coming and find the receiver a little bit quicker. Not Danny, I'm sorry, Gatos has to, get rid of the ball quicker. Sometimes he holds it a little long, I think. If he runs, he's got to protect it. He's going to have to face pressure. It's a tough matchup for Ridgefield. I think that's going to be a really close game.
Well, we're going to take a look now. We have highlights from Friday night's game between Richfield and Staples from Friday night. John was on the call. Did a nice job doing play-by-play, by the way.
Thank you.
We're going to take a look now at the highlights, and we'll also catch up with Luke Gatos at the end of the game. Let's take a look at the highlights from Friday night. Here they are.
Ball at the 31.
When we saw Gatto last year, he was more of a runner, but he's showing, he'll stand in the pocket and throw it.
Give to Schwartz. Schwartz runs into a pile. No! Excuse me. Gatto pulled it back. Gatto kept it up the left side, and he's run down from behind. Stopped at the 25. Touchdown saving tackle for the Wreckers. Ridgefield, 2 receivers to each side. Dropping back is Gatto. Gatto goes deep. He has a man, and he's got space. Run down from behind by Lombardo. That was Jackson Mitchell. Gatto with the snap. Throws. He's got a man open, and there's the touchdown by Jackson Mitchell. I'm sorry. And Ridgefield's converted on its first 2 possessions. Jet motion. Fake jet. Thompson keeps and lunges into the end zone for the touchdown. And Staples is on the board with 5:26 to go.
Correct myself there. I was giving Hamilton credit last time instead of Schneider.
Attempted a reverse there, and it's just gone bad. It's Thompson with the throw. Wide open! Wide open is Kevin Raybacks. Raybacks coming up the left side. Diving is Gatos. He can't do it.
Just the way they drew it up there.
A little bit of trickery there. And Staples takes a big chunk out of this Ridgefield lead. One back, fakes the give, ball is lofted and caught just inside the end zone by Luke Gatos. Gatos just barely over the goal line, brings it in, and Ridgefield takes the lead. 1st and 10, Staples, they're down 4. Thompson backpedals, throws up a long one, and what a catch! Bringing it down is the Jake Thor, the sophomore. Thompson rolls right. He's looking for a receiver. He's looking. He's under pressure. He tries to run, takes a big hit, and it's going to be turned over on downs. That's probably going to do it.
And a great win for the Ridgefield Tigers and a great touchdown catch by Luke Gatos. Here's the interview with Luke Gatos. I was able to catch up with him after the game. Here's the post-game interview right now.
Thank you, John. Down here with Luke Gatos. First, let's just talk about that touchdown catch, my man. At the end, you guys make it 24-20. Walk us through that entire play because that was a great catch.
I mean, it was great. We were ISOing me all game on the backside, and I love having the ball in my hands with the game on the line, and I stepped up.
You know, that was your first point since the first quarter. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Just talk about the resiliency of this team. Last year, you know, you were on this team last year. We called you guys the Cardiac Cats. Seemed like you guys always had the flair for the dramatics at the end. Never forget that Shelton game in the Class XXL final. That kind of had the flair to it. What is it about this Tigers team that has that great comeback in them?
I mean, we really just keep our composure throughout the whole game. We know we're the better team in these games, and we just come out and prove it.
What's the chemistry like on this offense right now? You guys seem to be clicking with Greg Gatto at quarterback.
It's great. It's great. We love putting on a show for the fans.
All right, enjoy the win. Go ahead and celebrate with the team, all right? John, back to you.
Thanks again to Luke Gatos. Able to catch up with him after the Ridgefield Tigers take down the Staples Wreckers Friday night. John and I are going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to discuss FCAC field hockey. All that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Wild Birds Unlimited.
At Wild Birds Unlimited of Brookfield, get expert advice from our certified bird feeding specialists. We offer always fresh, clean seed that will be sure to attract birds to your home feeder. Experience our excellent customer service. Open 7 days a week. Visit us at 317 Federal Road, Brookfield.
Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Bay Star and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Whether you're looking for a great test prep program, tutoring to boost your grades, or a blast-off toward the college of your dreams, C2 Education is here to help. There is nothing one-size-fits-all about our programs. We offer customized tutoring and test prep for each student. Call us today at 203-423-3328.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us. Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman, John Kovach with you. We switch things over now to FCAC field hockey, and it's been a great start to the 2017 season. Yesterday, the HA Network was supposed to broadcast the Staples-Wilton field hockey game, but due to the weather, the game was postponed, and it's moved to today. John and I are now going to preview a little bit of what's to come between the Staples Wreckers and the Wilton Warriors in a rematch of the 2016 FCAC final, which saw the Wilton Warriors, John, take down the Wreckers in double overtime in a thrilling match.
I just remember watching that. I wasn't at the game for that coverage. You don't need a high-scoring game to have excitement.
Right.
And as that game went on, you knew whoever broke through first was going to win. Once you hit overtime, it was kind of definite. But that game was so exciting in that you knew it was going to, neither side wanting to be the one that gave up that goal.
Right.
And kind of was looking forward to seeing the rematch, to be honest with you.
Well, if you look at last year, too, a couple weeks later in the Class L quarterfinals, it was Staples who took down Wilton, and they advanced to the Class L semifinals. So Staples able to get a revenge and take down Wilton 3-1. So I think the two of them now are looking at each other and maybe saying, well, we can get another crack at each other at the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
These are two teams who are talented enough, John, to not only reach the playoffs, but to make a deep run.
I think they could. I think these are teams that really could go someplace. They're strong, really back to front, I think. And you've got some experience back. Like you said, they've been there. They've been on both ends of it. They've experienced the highs and the lows. I think you've got teams that could probably push their way fairly deep into both the FCX and the states.
Well, you look at Wilton, they have Emma Rosen, who scored the game winner last year, and she comes back for her senior season, and already she's making an impact. And that's someone who, John, I believe can really put the team on her shoulders. She's got some great players as well. Jess Hendry has stepped up big, Olivia Hahn, Emma Rothkopf, that's just to name a few. There's some really good, vital pieces. But the one thing that I keep seeing, and from what I keep, hearing from other people and people covering the games, is that Wilton creates so many chances. They outshot Greenwich in the game that they lost a week ago to Greenwich, who, again, Greenwich, one of the top teams in the FCAC. They outshot them 13-4, and they still lost that game. And that's something that it's a continuous thing that they've been struggling with this year is the chances are there, they're just not finishing.
And that's a first-place Greenwich team that 8-1, 16 points, tied with Staples with 16 points. Tiebreaker obviously goes to head-to-head. And then you get Darien 9-0, leading the East Division.
It's Mel Minikis, she's doing her thing.
Just ahead Norwalk 7-1 there in second with 14, and then Wilton at 6-2, 12 points, right there in the mix, but not leading a division, but they're up there. They're there. They need to beat one of these big teams like a Staples.
Right. Well, you look at that East Division, it's stacked. I mean, you look at Darien to New Canaan. Darien has 18 points. New Canaan has 10. This is a very loaded East Division. A lot of chances here. And you look at, a Ward. That's a team where, there's 3 weeks left here in the season. It's their opportunity now to win some of these big games coming up. You look at, Ward, for example, but, New Canaan has to be able to, stay afloat, because if they start losing games now, they're looking from the outside in.
And look how heavy it is to the East. You have New Canaan is the 6th place team in the East with 10 points. Wilton with 12 is 3rd in the East. The 3rd place team in the West, Stamford, who we saw last Thursday, 6.
Unbelievable. It really is mind-boggling, because you look at Staples and Greenwich, both 16 points. These two teams easily, once they're making the playoffs without a doubt. And once they're in, these are two teams that are very dangerous. But you look at someone like Wilton, defending FCAC champions, sitting at 12 points. This is easily a team that once they're in, you don't want to see them in the playoffs, because that's a dangerous team to play. Despite their record, 6-2, very strong year so far. A lot of time remaining here, a lot of field hockey left, but I have a strong feeling that if Wilton gets in, they're going to be one of those teams that
turns it on for the playoffs, you think?
If you're Greenwich or Staples, you got to be careful, as well as Darien.
What amazes me is how close we are to the playoffs. You're looking at the FCAC quarterfinals for boys soccer, which we'll get to, start Thursday the 26th, Friday the 27th, girls soccer and field hockey quarterfinals. It's only 17 days away.
It's amazing. Well, John, we're gonna take a look now. We have highlights from last year's FCAC final between Staples and Wilton. It was a great game. We'll cue them up right now. We're going to talk over these highlights, but a great matchup between Wilton and Staples. You see
as the
here
final reset
Casa Grande Field
comes up with nothing.
This is the end
we
of the first half.
We are tied 0-0
lots of opportunities,
after one.
John.
Reset to the near side.
This is the end
and that will
of
do
regulation. Still no score.
For regulation in the
just a
FCAC championship game
between
at
these two
Ryan
sides,
McMahon
John.
High School.
Yeah, really. When you
Blasted
can
ahead,
go
Rosen is
all
there,
of
but likely
regulation without
has
a score.
Fine has
it
the
just
line
says
on
something about the quality of
Poked
play
away
of both
by
teams.
Rosen.
And John, here
Ball
you go.
is in the circle.
Here's the play
Rosen
right
comes
here.
up
Emma
with
Rosen
it.
gets tackled, or not tackled, but she gets fouled. And that leads to
There will
the
be a
penalty here
stoppage.
that's going to lead up to the game winner.
And you can only give up so many penalty
With
corners before it hurts.
4:07 to
Right.
go.
And now we're gonna step inside the booth here and take a listen from last
And
year's
we will
FCAC
have
final.
a penalty shot. Whistle blows, the shot, and she scores.
So a great game between both teams, and
Nice
exciting.
shot.
There's a really cool, really cool moment there for both teams, especially Wilton, and a great way to celebrate. But again, a great FCAC final. We can only expect we're going to see another
We can
great
hope.
final.
We can hope.
We can only hope. We're going to step aside. We'll have plenty more FCAC field hockey talk throughout the week. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to look at boys soccer. The playoff picture's out. We're going to discuss it. All that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during the summer clearance event, you'll find some of our best prices too. Like this lease on a 2017 Ram Quad Cab Express for $149 a month. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Richfield, PambyZone.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN Network.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care?
And welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman, John Kovach with you. Now we switch things over to the pitch, John. And we're going to talk about
you're hosting the show, so we knew we were going to get to this at some point. Where's your scarf? We should have worn our Premier League stuff.
Ooh, well, we got a Gunner fan over here.
Yes, we do.
Arsenal Gunners over here.
Yes, we do.
Off to a good
You
start.
can name a team after a place where you store your weapons. I mean, I guess there's something to be said for that.
Well, our two teams are Manchester United and Arsenal off to a good start this year, but also off to a good start this year are Stanford and Richfield, who sit atop of the FCAC boys standings right now. The two teams, Stanford sitting at 1. They hold the tiebreaker between the Richfield Tigers. And Stanford, who we're going to see Thursday afternoon against Norwalk, is going to be a great game between two sides, John. And Coach Mario Caminiti, again, another season for him under the books. A great, fantastic coach for this Stanford program. And again, they're sitting at the 1 spot. And this is a program last year who was right there. They almost beat Trumbull, but Trumbull was able to come back and beat them during the regular season. But a very talented Stanford team this year that gets a lot of returners.
And you've got a Norwalk team that our Dave Stewart, sports editor of the New Canaan Advertiser, runs the FCAC.net site. He did a breakdown of the playoff picture that you can find at FCAC.net. Norwalk, one of the preseason favorites, they win 5 straight to start the season, but now they are in a 1-2-1. They're stumbling a little bit. They've got to snap out of that. They snap out of it against Stanford. That's a big confidence builder.
That's a big confidence builder, and I think at this point in the season, you still got 3 weeks left. A lot of these good teams in boys soccer go through these stumbles in October, and it's perfectly normal, especially in the beginning. So I think if you're Norwalk, you're okay with losing a couple of these games because if you're a team going into this tournament with an undefeated record, you got a target on your back, and that's always dangerous. But for Norwalk, their remaining schedule looks at McMahon, then they go to Stanford, which will have Tuesday. Trumbull, Ridgefield, Ludlow, and Darien. So that Ridgefield game is looking interesting. They finish off with Ludlow and Darien. So Ridgefield, they go Trumbull, Ridgefield, Ludlow, and Stanford. That's 4 tough opponents, John, that they're going to finish the season off. So we're really going to find out what this Norwalk Bears team's all about.
Yeah, and a great chance for them to start to right the ship is Thursday in Stanford.
When you look at Stanford now, the Black Knights, had a perfect 3-0 record last week, capped with Saturday's 1-0 victory over a 5th-place Staples team, who I think is going to be a dark horse going into this playoff, Sean. This is a very good Staples team. You can never count out the record, especially in boys soccer.
No.
They're always there.
No, perennially. 30 years ago when I was covering sports full-time, you could always count on Staples soccer.
And you don't need to tell me twice. They got me in the dagger twice. So, this is a very talented team. But for Stanford, a big game this Thursday, John, against Norwalk. We just talked about how Norwalk's going through a little bit of a drag here in the beginning part of October. But this is a Stanford team that look out right now because opponents look out. This is a scary Stanford team.
Thoughts on Greenwich, which right now sits in 3rd, 22 points, but they're 3-0-1 in their last 4, or in 4 against contenders, and they beat Stanford and Norwalk.
They don't get enough credit. Considering what happened to them during the offseason, they graduated 22 players. No one thought they were going to be where they are. Yes, they have their confident head coach, but a lot of people didn't think Greenwich was going to be this good. They had players stepping up big time, especially the underclassmen who are really earning their varsity minutes. This is a Greenwich team as well. I think they're kind of going into this season saying, you know what, I'm okay with not sitting in the 1 spot. Don't let us in the playoffs, I think, is their message to the rest of the
But you know what? They could very easily, Dave Stewart writes, get that 1 spot because they face none of the teams that are bound for the playoffs in the last 3 weeks, and only one of those teams, Fairfield Ward, has a winning record. They could really they could leapfrog either of those top 2 teams, Stanford or Ridgefield.
Well, let's look at Stanford's remaining schedule. They have Ward, then they have Norwalk Thursday, West Hill, Central, Wilton, and Trinity. So,
a little favorable.
A little favorable there, and let's head down because let's talk about these Ridgefield Tigers, John, because to start off the year 0-2, immediately question marks are being put on head coach Phil Bergen and the rest of the program there, what was happening. JT Ciano comes back after a little bit of a preseason injury. Player of the year. This guy is on a tear right now. You put JT Ciano and Christian DeVivo up top, the 2 of them alone are raking in goals. They have the foot skills, they have the speed, and they can finish. And that's something that head coach Phil Bergen, that's all he wants in his program. If guys can finish, you're going to get minutes. And those 2 are earning their stripes. JT Ciano did not play on this team last year. He was playing in academy, comes back. He's tearing up the pitch right now.
And that's another show, but I would love to have a conversation with you about that rule that came in a year or 2 ago where you can either play academy or you can play high school, which has had an effect on soccer in high school. Also had an effect on football because I know a couple of teams that picked up kickers because they wanted to represent their school somehow and ended up place kickers.
Right, and yes, that's another day for a discussion. But
and I got to bring football back into it, or Frank will never talk to me again.
But you're not wrong, though.
I know.
The academies are taking these players away. You don't like to see it. It's part of the sport. It happens. And am I crazy about guys coming back? No.
Are you crazy about him coming back, or are you not crazy about him going in the first place?
I'm not crazy about them going in the first place, but listen, you have to understand that these guys want to play at the next level. So you have to understand that this is what they want to do at the next level. And that maybe that means going to the academy is what's going to get them there. But besides the fact, another team in this top 4 is Trumbull, who, again, beginning of the year, very strong. This is a Trumbull team, again, after being co-champions in the FCAC, this is a team that easily can win it all again.
They really could. You know, they're scoring goals when they win, 3-1 over West Hill, 6-0 over St. Joe's. But then Greenwich throws a clean sheet at them and wins 1-0.
Well, that's a nice win for Greenwich. As we round out, you got Norwalk at 6, Ludlow 7, West Hill 8. It's going to be a good finish for that final 8 spot, John.
And Ward tied points-wise. They lose the tiebreaker to West Hill. And Wilton's there only a point behind 8th. Central and Danbury only 2 points behind 8th. So you've got, 12 teams competing for 8 spots.
And it's going to be a fun finish. Look out for those
Very much so.
Look out for those Danbury Hatters with Coach Anthony Howard. I have a feeling they may sneak in at that final 8 spot. But that'll do it today for our edition of Nutmeg Sports alongside John Kovach, Kevin Coleman. Thank you guys for joining us today. Join us tomorrow. We're going to break down more football as we get ready for Friday Night Lights and Saturday afternoon football.
2 of them, 2 big ones this weekend.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow. All that on the HN Network.